Okay, so here's exercise 21D now, and as I said, I believe you'll find this much easier. This is going from Latin to English, which is certainly easier for the most part. It says read aloud and translate, and then identify the tense of each verb. So we'll do that for, yeah, we'll do that for four. I'm going to give you four full answers here, so please do use them, and then the other five you're going to do on your own. Let's start with this one here. So I'm gonna first of all I'm gonna look for verbs, and I think hopefully they're identifiable by now. So here I see one of them, sedebat and surexit. So I'm gonna just keep those in mind for after we translate the sentence first. So translate, then identify tenses. So Marcus subarbere sedebat, sed subito surexit. So Marcus, we'll start with that. Marcus, unbold this. Nope. Okay. Marcus, what was Marcus doing? He was sitting, said a bot. You see that BA right there. That is imperfect tense of verbs there. So Marcus was sitting, not sat, not is sitting, but was sitting. Where? Under the tree. But suddenly he got up. Sergo, sergere, surrexi, to get up. Let me see again, third person, no, third person singular ending for Marcus, right? Marcus again is a he, she, or an it here. So Marcus was sitting under the tree, but suddenly, and you could say like he got up, but suddenly got up, or but suddenly he got up is both fine. So now let's see the verbs here. Maybe you could put in like an A here for the verbs. Sedebat equals imperfect. So that's where it gets the sense of was sitting as opposed to is sitting or sat. And then B will say surrexit is the other verb, and that is definitely a perfect form of sergo sergere. And again, just so I hope I can make this clear here. Sergo, Sergere, where are you? There it is. Okay. So if you see a form that has these letters here, surrex something, that is a perfect tense. So again, present, the infinitive, the perfect form here, and then surrecturus is something you do not have to sweat. So let's go back to 21D. Where are you? There you are. Okay. So Surexit is perfect, sedebat is imperfect. Number two, Yam advesperascebat et viatores aedificia urbis conspexerunt. Now, what makes this one a little challenging is that you don't have an obvious subject here, but when you remember the verb advesperascere, which I think we first saw when Cornelius and the family were sitting beside the ditch and they were worrying um, about it was getting dark and they had to find a place to sleep. I think this verb first showed up there. So ad vesperascit means it's getting dark. So ad vesperasque bat, again the BA, means something like it was getting dark, past tense. So now it was getting dark. We'll start with that. Now it was getting dark. And we have viatores, those are travelers. So, and the travelers, um, conspexerunt is the verb here. The travelers caught sight of, and what did they catch sight of? They caught sight of edificia, which is a neuter noun. So this is actually an accusative plural, neuter. That's not a nominative feminine word there, but a neuter direct object and its plural form. So they caught sight of the buildings. The buildings what? The buildings, urbis is the genitive of the word urbs, which is city. So they caught sight of the buildings of the city. And then we have two verbs here too. So advesperacebat equals imperfect, and conspexerunt equals again perfect. You see that X right there, and that's usually a dead giveaway for a perfect verb, just as this BA is certainly a dead giveaway for an imperfect verb. So it was getting dark, but they caught sight of, not they were catching sight of, but they caught sight of. Seems like an insignificant difference to us, but for the Romans, there was a difference in the way those tenses worked, past tenses. Number 3, Davos in hortos saipe labораbat. Here we only have one verb, and we see that it once again has that BA, so we're going to go with labораbat being an imperfect. But we start with Davos. What was Davos doing? Davos, in horto, in the garden, saipe, often, an adverb, and laborabat, imperfect verb, was working. So we'll say Davos often was, or we can even say Davos often used to work in the garden, remembering that there are different ways to translate imperfect tense. Was working, used to work, started to work, or kept working. So I think since we have often here, used to work sounds better. But maybe somebody else could, come up with a slightly different answer for that one. So we only have laborabat, and that equals imperfect. One more sentence for servi canam paraverunt et nunc cenare possumus. So here we see our verbs are paraverunt and possumus. So we've got two different tenses here, and we'll see about that in a second. But we start with servi, the subject. The slaves. The slaves did something. What did they do? They prepared. And what did they prepare? They prepared dinner. So servi, the slaves prepared dinner. Or let's say this, since the second part of the sentence is, and now we are able to eat dinner or to dine. Notice the difference, the similarity, I should say, between canam and canare. This is a noun form, dinner, like I eat dinner, and canare is to have dinner, to eat dinner, to dine. So since this is, and now we are able to eat, or now we can eat, I'm going to say this sounds better. The slaves have prepared dinner, and now we are able to eat. Notice again, canare, the infinitive used to complete this verb here, possumus. We are able to eat. So this is a complementary infinitive. I think that was covered in the last chapter. We are able to eat. Now, actually, we have three verbs here. Paraverunt equals perfect. We have also cenare, which doesn't have a tense because it is an infinitive. And we also have possumus, and that is present tense. So possumus, you might recognize that from sumus. It's a sort of a form of sum, to be. With this added on, this pos makes this to be able, or here we are able. So that's it for those four. I hope that gets you started. The translations should not be hard. Just work on identifying the right tense of those verbs, and hopefully this is a good start for you. Take care.